Hi, everybody. It's Jenny Ciccone and Rosalind Smith here again, sharing with you our work for Soulful Women's Journey video series. Hi, Ross. How are you
Hi,
today?
Jenny. I'm fine, thank you.
Yes, yeah, great, great. So if any of you watched our last series, we talk about the patterns in our life that block us from moving forward in life. So in case you don't forget, we will recap a little bit today, or anybody haven't yet, welcome to go to our YouTube channels to check that one out. But for today, our topic will be patterns and stuck energies. So let's recap a little bit. Last time we mentioned how to identify patterns and how they just block us in our daily life. Something like that, like relationship patterns. You always meet the similar kind of people in your relationship, and you finish this one, jump to the next one. Something like that, right? Or you can feel physical symptoms, migraine headaches, or whatever. But people say, "Oh, I don't know when it happens." But if you check what triggers you, you actually could find some kind of patterns. So that's what we like to share. What patterns, what kind of messages that our life patterns want to tell us, how we can be aware of them so that we can start to understand and take the effective steps, not only staying there blaming we got stuck and keep more ourselves feel more stuck, right? So that's how we want to share and talk. So Ross, I like you to share with us first about your experience and your understanding about this. Why patterns are signs of stuck energies, how it impacts us.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk from my own personal experience because I think that's the best way. And that's, and I've run several different patterns in my life. And it's, but one that's really stood out for me was about my pushing energy and pushing and striving to do things. And especially, a lot of this was around my business, was around even in the home. And it was thinking and believing that I had to be a certain way and I had to do certain things. And I didn't realize until I was sort of a bit further down the line and realized that I was feeling deflated because I kept doing the same thing. I would go so long and then I'd burn out and then I'd do more and I'd burn out. But I wasn't feeling truly satisfied. I was trying to reach a goal or to be like coaches told me that I should be like. I wasn't being me authentically. And, I didn't know that then, but what kept happening, it's like being on that roller coaster of emotions that it was over and over again doing the same thing. So I found myself saying the same things and I found myself in the same situations, nothing changed. And yes. I thought it was something I was doing wrong, but it was what I was actually attracting because it was my belief system and my energy from being a child. I'd picked up my father's energy that was very pushing, striving, very, very, not that I'm not motivated, of course I am, but he had to, he had the mindset of working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And I picked that up and felt that if I wasn't doing that, then I was idle, I was useless. Yeah. I was, you know, and it just made me tired and exhausted. It really did. And I've seen the same patterns and similar with my clients, because I see many business people. Yes. You know, as well as seeing, you know, well, I always go for that sort of man. That's me all over. Why do I attract these sort of people in my life? Another pattern.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know? Oh, we have multiple, you know.
Yeah. So that was the biggest thing with me, was about my pushing energy. That came out in my work, running my own business. And even when I worked with my husband, you know, and it also came out at home. It's almost like, well, I'll just get it done. And because I have no support around it, and you know, who have I got to turn to? And that pushing energy came into every part of my life.
Yes.
And it was just, and I just accepted and thought that that's the way I had to live until I was on my knees.
Yes. Thank you so much for mentioning this. I think it represents so many of us. We spiritually oriented women, soulful women in this community, and also, you know, represent me and the people I help and work with. I think, you know, deep down to the roots, it's really, of course, everything goes back to the childhood, you know, that's conditioned there from the early events, because we were taught and trained to perform, to get the love that we need. Literally, that's it. And then, you know, when we perform, when we try, and we experience the reward, right? And we got their approval, recognition, praise, and we feel great. Now we learned we have to do this and do this. But, you know, everybody's different, especially for, you know, spiritually oriented women. A lot of them, they have, you know, they are highly intuitive, they have the gut, they could really, if they can live their life as themselves, not their non-self, they could really hear the guide, the inner guide, and know what to do. And then you don't need to push and strive. And life could be easy, much easier. And you could start to receive. So with that said, I actually, you know, love to share my side, my pattern, personal experience. I think, you know, that's why, you know, a lot of coaches, healers finally came out, do this work to support others, because we experienced that. So I shared your pattern, but my thing, it's really about feeling unsupported. Mm-hmm. You know, so I didn't notice that until later on, when I started to do this work. And I just felt like, you know, I was trapped there, feeling unsupported. But then, you know, more I feel that, the more I feel I'm trapped in this unsupported feeling. You know, for example, you know, this also applies to different areas in my life. You know, in my daily life, from family members, I said my husband doesn't support me, and even my son finally, but sometimes they said, what you're talking, you know, they feel like, you know, it's wrong because they loved me, they supported me, blah, 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 but I just didn't feel it. I could not feel it. And later on, I knew that because of my trapped emotional pattern, unconsciously, actually, I block myself to receive the support, and also I block others to support me. And also it represents, of course, in my work, when I do my business, my practice, when I sit there in front of the computer, doing whatever I need to do, and, you know, underlying, you know, line there, you know, the message, unconsciously, it's always there. You see, everything is on me. I'm, you know, on my own. I need to be responsible on everything, technical, this and that, marketing, work, healing, my time, house, kids, you know, everything. So it's always there, you know. I just cannot fully put my energy 100% there, just do whatever I need to do. And that kind of, you know, patterns and messages, emotional patterns in the background consume a lot of our energy. You know that, Ross.
For sure.
and
Absolutely.
also I find a lot of, you know, my clients, you know, are the same. And then we do this also because I was trained and you know, learned to support others. I felt because I didn't feel supported, that's why I feel for others. I want to support them. I felt like when I do that, they could do the same to support me back, and then I will feel love, right? But they don't. And then, you know, when I keep doing this, and then I will feel resentful because, you know, I just felt like dry out myself. And it's so unfair. And all these, you know, feelings come up, it becomes like bitterness. And then I become the victim. So until, you know, later on, we have done so much work and I had to go back to the childhood time. My parents, they are busy. They were busy for their career. They didn't have time to support me, especially emotionally, you know, understand, you know, my feelings and this and that. So we just have to, you know, like work on this, you know, gradually release the emotions that started in the first place. So that's my big one. And until finally I realized that and then release it more and more, I didn't do anything more. I just started to see the changes of myself could be a bit easier to relax and then receive the support, not only emotional from people and even the resources that I need to live my life and to do my work, my business. Oh, everything starts to change. So these are two big ones for us. Yeah, you go ahead,
And
Ross.
I think one of the words that stood out for me in everything that you've said is feeling a victim.
Oh, yeah.
Is feeling a victim of circumstance, of what's going on and not knowing how to get out of it. And just and having that belief system that this is who I am. That's just the way that things are.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you know, I find that quite sad in a way because, you know, I didn't ever think I was going to be able to get out of that pattern either, because you start to feel that there's something wrong with you. Yes. Rather than thinking, do you know what, even as a healer, because it took so long for me to get out of the patterns that I was running, and one of them was extremely similar to what you've just, you know, shared with us, and it took so long to get out of that I actually thought it was never going to happen, if I'm honest with you. Yeah. But then that's because it ran even deeper with me. But with some people, it's not actually running that deep. It's just cutting some cords and ties, which I know we'll talk about that later. But
yes,
it really is about knowing it is okay. You are not a victim, and the universe is on your side, actually, and is helping you to see these patterns so that you can heal and make the change.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for mentioning, emphasizing this point, the victimized energy pattern, you know. And really, you know, I definitely felt that way. And I felt I was such a victim and life is unfair, and I was angry, and you know, but I still strived, you know, to find a solution. And also I like to mention this, you know, many people, when we feel stuck and we cannot figure it out, we always want to figure it out using our rational mind, using our logical mind to find the solutions. But actually, again, it's the wrong channel. We don't go there because the answer is not there. It's our emotional stuff. It's the subconscious mind. It's at our emotional mind's right hemisphere, which we will talk about this, with another, whole series talking about that. So the thing is, there is nothing wrong with us, and we are not victims. When we feel we are victim, then we will keep being a victim from our life. So how to,
Exactly.
release that, break that pattern, release and let go of that belief so that we can build some new belief. And the thing is, we need to stop to fix ourselves. Just like you said, if we believe something is wrong with us, and then we need to fix ourselves like a broken machine. We are not a broken machine. We are whole and, complete, but we just need to come back to honor and let go of what doesn't belong to us. And then our true self could be revealed, and it's all whole and complete and magnificent. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's seeing it as a blessing that it's popped up, rather than seeing it as something that, like you say, is wrong. When we can start viewing things as a blessing. And I know that's really challenging, because sometimes, it's really irritated me, and I
Yes,
know
I know.
you,
I
that
know.
things have come up into our life and you think, oh no,
Yes.
surely not something else. However, now I can see it, that the universe is showing me this and saying, do you know what? We keep showing you. So now you need to deal with it.
Yes.
Stop
Yes.
feeling the
Oh
victim.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes.
It
Yes.
takes
Yes.
time, and I get that. But at the end of the day, it's so beautiful as well
Yeah.
to see it in that way, because then what you're looking at, you're not accepting it as a belief anymore. You're accepting that, oh, so I can change this then.
Yes. Yeah. And then it contains the purpose for us. It's soul's purpose. That's why we both do
Yes.
work as soul purpose coaching healing, right? Yeah. It's
Yeah.
the soul's purpose. It's so different from our head set goals. It's just different. So finally, we will come to the place, go within to reach the place inside that we will feel so satisfaction. So it's
Yeah.
such a beautiful thing. Yeah. So in case, some other people said, oh, maybe this is not that my pattern. So how can I check? Let me give a bit more, several more examples. Like, maybe health wise, there is also pattern. Some people feel like, they get headache, migraines. I just did something, this week, with a client. And you can check when, or maybe, we could, relate this as our tips. People will say, how can I know? How can I be aware of any triggers and patterns? So let's just share a little bit about that, give a couple of tips. Okay, so maybe I just go ahead, Ross, and taking this, couple of examples, and then I will turn it to you and ask you to share with us. Some people, like, they feel headache. I give example. And one time, people, yes, some different people share with me, like they always have the headaches, like in that rainy day in the afternoon. Okay, so that's the trigger when the weather turns out like that, and it will turn out to be the migrant came back or da da da. So they don't know. But when we pay attention, find the trigger and track the pattern and going back, okay, childhood time, one event happened. It was that under that weather. Something happened, and ever since it just got stuck. The sorrow, deep sorrow feeling just got stuck inside and never went away. And kids don't know, don't understand. And then it just kept coming back, something like that. So what I can say is always check the trigger. Always find when. I would like to give 5 W words, like when you feel it, and what happened, and who was there, who were there, you know, like how you can, did you get into that, you know, situation or whatever. And which word, which W I still missed. I think, you know, how, oh, why, right? Yeah. So why? People just stuck in their head, checking, figuring out why. You cannot, because the answer, again, it's not in your head. Why? Find the pattern, find the triggers, and go back. And then we use tool. This will be the next time, next talk. We use tool. We will share how to, you know, do that, several steps to go to the roots, to find why. You will. And then everything makes sense. Oh, that's it. Now we go to the roots to remove it. So it's really stop there, finding these several steps. So that's what my tips are. Turning to you, Ross.
Yeah, it's a bit like as well that when people develop like a tic or a stammer, and they've never had that sort of thing before, and a lot of the time they can be okay, and then they can start to gradually get worse when they feel more emotionally stressed. And it can be that there could be somebody close to them that passed away, and they felt the emotional stress, and this is where it started. And so every time they get emotional stress, this is where they start to have this tic or have a stammer. So that's another example. So there's things that we have that we don't really need to keep, but we think again is we claim it as that is what is wrong with me. And so I'm very careful that if I don't feel very well, I try not to talk. I say try, and I hate that word, but I do my best not to speak of it in a way that my something, because that means I'm owning it. Okay. And like you said, it's about using exactly what you said. And just sometimes, as all of those things that you said, you know, who was with you, why, when, and all of those things, you can actually just sit in a meditative state, just light a candle and write. Most of my things that I'm not a massive writer, but what I will say is when I write, very often that is when I'm writing unconsciously, because I'm dumping it out of my mind. So if it doesn't help to just think it that way, then try and write it when you're on your own and you're feeling peaceful. But I know we've got more tips to give next time.
Oh, yes. We could talk about this forever, right? You know, even when you were talking, I found another, you know, case I will share, you know, next time, you know, insomnia, whatever, you know. Okay, so anyway, time is up again. I just like to share that, you know, with the conclusion for today's talk, even though we could feel stuck and we are trapped in emotional patterns, we do have a way to come out, right? But going inward, not going outside to grab, you know, solution, find people to meet our needs. So that's the thing. And we don't need to live our life, you know, it's like settled. We are set. This is what we need to live with. It's not like that. Only if your desire, maybe it's the indication of your pains. If you still feel the pains, that means you have the soul's desires. Only if your desires are still there, your light, your fire is still inside, we will, you know, fulfill our soul's purpose together. So we are out already, and many people, they have done their work and come out. We are so passionate for serving this community of women. So thank you so much for watching today. We will come back to you next time, sharing more about the steps to break the patterns. Thank you, Ross.
Oh, you're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. So for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.